Young boy never broke again. Cash shit. Let's talk about it.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
How y'all doing? Welcome to Let's Talk About It. Music Reviews Season 11. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. Guys, we're back with our Young Boy Never Broke Again coverage of Massa, Make America Slime Again. This is Young Boy's new album, 30-track album. I've listened to the album now like 2 times through. I've replayed a bunch of tracks. I've been listening to a lot about this album, and I will continue my journey of listening to that album. But guys, for now, right now, we got one of the songs that I just got done listening to. This song's called Cash Shit. And honestly, when it was 4 a.m., when I was half asleep, when, I didn't know how I was feeling or how, things were going to go. And then at 4 a.m., Cash Shit came on, and that shit kind of changed my life. But then I woke up the next day, and when I try to put on the song, the next day, guys, I'll be real with you, I wasn't really feeling this song that much. But we got Cash Shit. I just got done listening to it now. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Starting off with the beat, we got to talk about the production. Now, guys, the beat, I will say, might be one of the more generic beats on this album. And, it's one of those things that, I kind of look at and I go, alright, this is one of those generic type beats. This is one of those beats that, I'm not really going to enjoy that much. And, I will explain why. There is a problem sometimes with trap production because sometimes you can, use the same kind of synths. You can use the same kind of 808s. You can use the same kind of drums. And, when you put that together, guys, and sometimes, you just use these 5-second loops. You just use these sample chops. You just use these elements that are kind of just reusable from every other rapper. So when, somebody who like me, who's been listening to so much 2025 rap music, so much 2024 rap music, and so on as I've been doing this for, like 4 years. Guys, I'm going to tell you, this is probably one of the more generic beats on this album. And, I'm not going to really knock YoungBoy that much for this, because...
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Look, guys, I'm kind of surprised that it's, I'm this deep in the album. Cash Shit is after 12 tracks. After 12 ass tracks, that's when Cash Shit comes on. So, I won't knock YoungBoy that much for having such a generic ass beat here. I mean, I'm kind of surprised how there's not that many generic beats on this album. For a 30-track album from YoungBoy, honestly, guys, what I'm expecting as a YoungBoy listener from, 4 years ago? I'm expecting piano trap beats. I'm expecting some basic...
9 años pidiendo el Snack Wrap. Aquí tienes tu Snack Wrap. ¿Tú quieres un Snack Wrap? Toma tu Snack Wrap. ¿Tú también? Toma un Snack Wrap. Snack Wrap, Snack Wrap, Snack Wrap. Volvió el Snack Wrap. Para pa pa pa.
Gas, 808, hard booming trap beats. That's what I'm expecting from YoungBoy. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it's taken this far long in the album to even get to this point, which should honestly say a lot about YoungBoy's music and kind of how the growth has been happening. Guys, this is one of the more generic beats on this album. It's just the keys and the synths here. It's not the good ones, too. Sometimes sometimes we can overuse these keys. Sometimes we can overuse the piano loops, because sometimes, guys, these piano loops just don't sound good on beats sometimes. And when you combine it with synths that also are pretty generic to listen to, I mean, I'm feeling like I'm listening to fucking some 5-second ass loops because of how fucking generic it is. You know, it's not the good ones. And it feels just like a sample, you know, with the saved 5-second loop. The 808s on here, though, sound pretty great. And the drums, I will say, have some thump to them. But they feel too kinda in the background. And that's also another problem of this song, guys. It's the fact that, you know, I listen to a YoungBoy song, and I want my drums, I want my bass, I want these 808s, I want to feel these things in my ears. I want to feel, you know, all of the goddamn sounds. And when I hear the drums, and the drums are barely fucking in this beat, because, you know, it feels like the volume on them are just turned down. You know, whoever produced this track, you know, should really turn up those fucking drums, because the drums just don't sound that goddamn good. And I wish they were not so in the background. Now, they do have some thump to them, and those 808s do sound pretty great. I do like the 808s, but all the other elements are pretty fucking generic. So yeah, I'm just gonna say it, guys. You know, this is probably one of the more generic beats on this album. You know, I will be real with you. You know, I wish the volume on the mixing was just kind of turned up more. You know, it's one of the more generic beats on this one. And honestly, guys, I am pretty disappointed with the production. Now, we talked about the production, guys, and the production's not everything. So now let's move on to the hook. I will say this, guys. The beginning hook and the hook overall is just goddamn great. You know, one of the best hooks that I've listened to on this album. You know, I like how he deepens his voice, kind of how Playboi Carti does, but kind of more natural. As you know, Playboi Carti kind of uses, you know, effects on his voice, auto-tune effects. Some say AI, when it's probably just, you know, it's probably just the auto-tune, guys. It's probably just a setting on his goddamn auto-tune. I mean, let's be goddamn real. I don't think he's fucking putting it through a fucking AI machine for his voice, but I really like. And by the way, guys, Auto-Tune is a AI machine. Guys, Auto-Tune is a voice kind of taking your vocals and kind of putting it through a computer to, you know, artificially make it sound better. So, it's still the same fucking thing. So, it doesn't goddamn matter. That's when people say, you know, Playboi Carti's new album's got fucking AI on it, you know. Hey, I get AI's taking over the goddamn world. I mean, get over it. Now, he sounds pretty fire on here. The flow is great. It can easily get stuck in your head. He even switches his vocals to his more normal rapping and starts even spazzing on the beat with a faster flow switch. And I will say this, guys, overall, it's a pretty great hook. You know, I really like the hook sound, and I like how, you know, the vocals deepen, but we also get a vocal switch to his more normal rapping, and he just starts fucking rapping his goddamn ass off. I mean, when you're rapping your goddamn ass off, you know, on the hook alone, it's just like, goddamn, you know, calm down. And I really do like that.
You open the Walmart app and boom! The Reebok and Hanes styles that keep your kiddos on their A game delivered in as fast as an hour. That's right, those comfy Hanes Performance Crew socks they love in the app. And the coolest shirts, shorts, hoodies, and leggings from Reebok? Yep, Walmart's got them. They'll feel so focused in their new gear they won't even notice you freaking out on the sidelines. Shop Reebok and Hanes in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new. Subject to availability, fees, and restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtual Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your virtual pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
You know, I think Cash Shit might suffer from generic production. Cash Shit might do that. I will be real with you. You know how generic this song overall sounds, but there is one thing I can tell you about Cash Shit. That's one of the big parts, one of the best parts of this song is the hook. You know, the hook just sounds absolutely fantastic. So I do like the hook, and I'm glad YoungBoy, you know, always usually goes crazy on hooks. I mean, I think there is a few hooks on this album that I didn't really enjoy. But that's not to say that, guys, I mean, that's not to say that, you know, most of his hooks on Make America Slime Again, I would say, so we'll give an early ranking here. I mean, we'll take a break from talking about this song real quick and talk about the album overall, because it is going to be another week before I even talk about the album, guys, overall. I will say, there is a couple of bad hooks on this album. You know, there's the XXX one, where he's talking about sex and violence, where he just screams it over and over and over again. And I didn't really enjoy that hook. So there is a couple of bad hooks on this album, etc. So that's definitely one thing. But I would say overall, you know, I really do enjoy this hook. You know, I'm glad this hook sounds really great. And, you know, I'm kind of surprised because, you know, a long time ago, 4 years ago, covering YoungBoy, a lot of hooks that I would listen to from YoungBoy just don't sound that good, you know? It's either YoungBoy whining like a motherfucker, or it's, you know, YoungBoy rapping terribly. And a lot of the time, I remember I used to hear, you know, YoungBoy rap off beat, or the auto-tune would be so fucking messed up that I couldn't stand listening to 20-track albums from YoungBoy back 4 years ago. I would always hate that shit because of how the quality of his music, but it just feels like now, with 2025 YoungBoy, that he's, you know, kind of sharpened up those skills. You know, he's sharpened up his ear for better production. He's sharpened up his rapping. You know, he's not, you know, skipping a beat. You know, he's not being, you know, lazy on any of these tracks. And I will even say this, even the tracks where, you know, the beat's slowed down and he's kind of singing his heart out or something like that, he always manages to squeeze one rap verse in this song. And that one rap verse is going to go fucking insane. So that's one thing about YoungBoy. Now, I really enjoy the hook, so let's get into the beginning verse now. Now, guys, the beginning verse was a really strong start. You know, I like the way he was rapping on here. You know, YoungBoy was definitely attacking this beat. His flows, these fast flow switches, kind of like a boxer, you know, just throwing some jabs, throwing some straights, you know, maybe pulling in a right hook or a left hook there, etc. You know, you just got so many different elements where YoungBoy is just absolutely attacking this beat, actually adding so much value to this beat. And honestly, guys, the flow switches too are just addicting to listen to, which is really awesome in my opinion. You know, when you can make flow switches really engaging, when you can really, you know, keep the listener engaged with the whole entire song because you're constantly switching up your flows, you're constantly doing something new to the song, it just creates that replay value, and it's just so great to listen to from YoungBoy. And I will say this, guys, great, strong start to the track overall. YoungBoy definitely killed his goddamn verse. Now, not everything can be positive. You know, I think we've been positive about YoungBoy enough. We got to get into some negatives here, which is a little disappointing to say. But I'm going to say this, guys. There's only a few tracks on this album that do feel like that. Even the ones that I think are a little crazy. Like, even like Sex and Violence. I'm not gonna lie, guys. That hook gets stuck in your head. The verses that he did, honestly, the flows were actually there. So, there's only a few tracks that are gonna have this problem that I'm gonna talk about. But there are a few like this because this is a 30-track album. And not every 30-track album is gonna be perfect. You know, you're not gonna have, you know, that much perfect. It's impossible, guys. It's a 30-track album. Not even Playboi Carti can do it, and not even YoungBoy can do it. The second verse was sadly more the same from the first, which is a problem.
Learning through play starts with Lego Duplo. With Lego Duplo, toddlers can develop real-life skills while having fun with colorful bricks made just for them. Large, easy to grip, and safe to explore. When children express themselves with Lego Duplo, they build patience, problem-solving, and empathy. See your child learn perseverance and self-expression with everything they imagine and create. Visit lego.com/preschool to learn more.
I was deep in it, gaming on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. Unfolding the screen made it twice as big and so immersive, I kinda lost myself. Might have trolled a little too close to the sun. Someone in the chat told me to touch grass, so I took my Z Fold 7 outside and kept playing. Still won, got a tan, and a nice little reset. Powerful processor, realistic graphics, you stay locked in, streak stays alive. Can your phone do that?
The new Galaxy Z Fold 7. Get yours at Samsung.com.
On this album, and I'm already seeing it from a few tracks here. Guys, when you do such a strong hook, when you do such a strong verse, when you have all of these different elements that are working together, guys, the second verse has to come with the same energy. You know, it has to come with the same love and care, because you can immediately tell, you know, when a rapper is not really giving a shit that much about the second verse. And this is one of those instances when I listen to this track. You know, such a strong start at the start, but when I listen to the second verse, guys, I feel like we're just dragging on this song. How about this? You know, if you don't want to try on the second verse, if you're not going to put the same goddamn effort with the second verse, how about we just don't do a second verse? I mean, make this shit a TikTok song at this point, because it's such a waste of time when I'm listening to a second verse that is clearly not on the same fucking quality as the first one. And it really gets annoying, guys, when I listen to albums, when I listen to songs that have these type of songs on them. I mean, even the album that I'm listening to, you know, in the background right now, which I'm going to talk about later in the future, which I'm not going to, you know, specify yet, I'm already running into that issue with the second verse on that album. So it's just a problem with 2025 music, you know, in general. You know, it's disappointing, and it does make this feel like this track is just dragging on. He even has a lyric where he's talking about fucking, like, baby food. So, yeah. Definitely something. But, guys, when we talk about this song, guys, when we talk about YoungBoy, Never Broke Again, Cash It, you know, overall, this song might be one of the more generic side, you know, of YoungBoy, Never Broke Again's catalog. You know, and I will be real, this song is nothing crazy. Not nothing, but nothing crazy. So it's a little disappointing on that end, but I will say, this is still not a bad track, which is kind of crazy to say. I mean, usually you got me out here, you know, cussing a storm back in the day, or, you know, losing my goddamn mind listening to, you know, the same YoungBoy song over and over and over again, because that's what it used to feel like. This does remind me of the older YoungBoy days, but it's still better than a lot of new rap music that comes out today. So yeah, guys, I think this song was decent enough. Nothing crazy, but still had some moments where YoungBoy was snapping on here. Overall, I'm going to give this track a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, guys. What y'all think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I don't know. Let me know. If you're on Spotify, my Spotify people, make sure you follow this show. If you're on Pandora, if you're on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast at, make sure you follow, turn on notifications, guys. We're dropping new content every single day. We're going to be dropping more YoungBoy coverage all weekend, all week, and even moving into the next week. So we got a lot to talk about. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Bye.